Okay, so that first go around didn't quite capture my screen, but I hope this does. So I just wanted to share with you one of my favorite shops for picking out these images on Etsy for my daughter. I liked this November printable art, and she and I went through the site. This is actually one that she did want, and we ended up getting. And she picked some of her favorites. Actually, you can see these were ones that I ended up, not all of them, but those were some we liked. And if I just go to the whole site, you can decide what you like, and then you click on it and you can buy the file. So this one's $7, which is actually, I think, one of the more expensive ones. So again, when you buy the file, you get it in a ton of different sizes, size options, and you can print then whatever size you want. Um, so it's great. It downloads right to your computer. Then you go to whatever print shop you're using. I use Costco, and you select the size you want and you buy it on there. So um, that was the first step, picking out kind of what she was interested in. Then what I did is I brought it into Photoshop. And if you don't have Photoshop, you could do this in Google Drawings, I think would be the best place. Um, and I played around with it. I imagined this entire white space to be kind of her wall, and then I played around with the scale of the different pieces. And when I made the final selections of what we wanted to buy, I was trying to keep in mind the orientation of each piece. So we had a mix of landscape and a mix of portrait, as well as some color, some black and white, some darker than others, that kind of thing. So this helped me play around with the composition of the entire wall and the size. The two biggest, the size of the prints isn't that big, but the size of the frames that I wanted was fairly large. So these ended up being 16 by 20 because I didn't want to spend more than that on frames. And then if you think about it, that's a pretty big frame. And then if you include the mat, which means the mat's a few inches on either side. So in a 16 by 20, that means that the print you're getting is an 11 by 14. So that might not seem that big, but once it all gets matted and framed, it really does take up quite a big amount of wall space. So don't be put off by when you take out your measuring stick and you see how small 11 by 14 is. Really, it is a lot larger when you include the mat and the print and the frame. So I got two that were 16 by 20. Then I did 11 by 14s. I think that was this one, this one. I can't remember because I did play around with this a little. It might not be completely to scale right now. I did a couple that were 11 by 14s, which meant that they were then 9 by 12 prints. And then I did a couple of 9 by 12 frames that then had 8 by 10s in them. And then the smallest one, I did an 8 by 10 frame with a 5 by 7 mat opening and a 5 by 7 print. Those are all really standard sizes, easy to get, and inexpensive. Um, and that is the next step. And I'll video a little bit later. I'm trying to put these all together now. So I'll show you kind of how I'm doing that and what the end result looks like before I wrap them all up. And then later on, you can see them on the wall when I finally get to that. So hope that was helpful. Okay, now I have to figure out how to end this thing. Let's see.